Good morning, everyone. How is everyone doing today? Happy Monday. Welcome to the start of a brand new week, and I expect a lot of our viewers a pretty exciting week as Pez comes out tomorrow, and we're all big fans of Pez. We're going to be playing Pez after this stream on this channel. So yeah. Good morning. How's things, babe?
Yeah, good man. Good. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. I'm actually sat here. The reason I'm pale anyway, but the reason I'm paler more than usual is because I have the blind open in front of me. So there's a window right in front of me. So I have my lighting on me anyway, as I usually do, but I also have actual daylight. So my room's like,
Yeah.
so the
You want
weather's
to close
looking
the blinds? Otherwise, we would see the screen.
just like as
Yeah.
the vibrations from the light and all of the stuff. Yes. Busy weekend, Captain Golfman.
On Friday, yeah. Obviously, we wasn't streaming on Friday. We had no scoop. We had no Masters of the League or anything because I decided to take it upon myself to leave Manchester and go and play golf elsewhere in Bradford, at Hollins Hall, stunning place. I'm so glad that we got a buggy. I think it was one of the longest courses that I've ever been on, and that was with a buggy. But yeah, it's a fantastic place. Me and Walker won, so that's we drew our first game a couple of weeks ago against two of our mates. So we played again the same teams yesterday on Friday, and then ended up winning that. So super buzzing about that. And obviously we streamed PGA yesterday morning to get the ICU Society games in, which I do have an announcement at some point. I need to put it into Discord about this ICU Society stuff. No, the Scoop guys don't need to know. It's irrelevant to most of them. It's just people who are interested in PGA. But yeah, it's heating up in the ICU Society.
Speaking of society, I'm trying to open up chatbot so I can type exclamation mark society, and it's just like, it's updating, that's fine. There's a chatbot update. Okay, well, in a minute, not yet, I will type exclamation mark society into the chat, and that will give you details of how you can get involved in the ICU Society on PGA 2K21 if you're interested in that. If you're not, then you don't have to, but if you are, then there you go. Okay, chatbot is now opening twice. It didn't open, and now it's just open twice. Great. Close, yes. Okay, let me try that. Make sure it just still isn't running in the background twice. Society. Boom, okay. First things first, I'm going to check my audio.
Okay.
And fucking thing. Streamlabs has shut itself with the audio. Okay, in that case, everyone listening on demand, this sounds shit. I apologise, but we will be back in a second. One sec.
Yeah. I was going to say maybe it's time to move over to normal OBS, but I doubt that'll be any better for you.
Okay, we should be back. I'm just going to keep chatting shit until I can hear my own voice coming through the stream again. Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, everything's fine. All the audio is good. Nice. The Society command is in the chat if you're interested in that live on Twitch right now. Chatbot is working. It's our we, and as is the audio. Anyway, speaking of we, for those of you who don't know, my name is Graham Day. This is Bib. We are Ice Cream Uploads, and in true Ice Creamy fashion, this is The Scoop, the UK's #1 video game podcast, and we're going to bring you the biggest, the best, and the breaking stories from the world of video games right now. We're going to give you our thoughts and impressions on those stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions so we can have a little bit of a debate. And it's important that you do get involved right now here live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads in the chat, because this gets turned into a podcast, a video podcast for YouTube, and an audio podcast that goes on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So if you're in the chat right now, even if you're just saying hello, just feel free to say hello. But then obviously feel free to drop in with your opinions as the show moves on. But before we jump into the show, we have a few talking points. Obviously, Bib mentioned the ICU Society. We have a few games that we tend to main on the channel. One of them is PGA. So Bib was playing yesterday, getting his Society games in. PUBG, I played a little bit last week. And Pez, we haven't played for a week because obviously transition week for us on Ice Cream Uploads. But we are going to be playing Pez straight after this. Our Master League, a modded PC Master League, which we are playing on Pez 2020. But that's 2020. Tomorrow we'll issue that's the word, eschewing the future of video games, in terms of PES anyway, as PES 2021. The season update comes out tomorrow, so we will be playing that, and we will be live on the Twitch front page. I don't think we've been live since we got that confirmed and announced last week. So this is the first time, yeah, unless actually, the bib was live yesterday, so you'd have probably mentioned it then, I imagine. Yes? Okay.
Yes.
So we will be live on the Twitch front page from 2 p.m. tomorrow. Obviously, we will go live a little bit before that, get things rolling. It's going to be the first time that we've played PES 2021, so we'll do everything from scratch. We're going to load it up. We'll get our legend players. We'll tinker with a few games, and then we will be joined by 4 of our friends on Twitch. Some guys that you might know. Do you know what? I'll see if I can find the tweets as this is happening as well. So Ice Cream uploads. There we go. So on screen right now, this is the tweets that went out. So we are having the Launch Day Cup. So that will be starting from 2 p.m. 15th of September, which is tomorrow. That's BST is 2 p.m. by the way. So if you are in Central Europe, it'll be 3 p.m. But keep that in mind. And we are joined by 4 of our friends, as mentioned. So we have Mr. David Fish will be joining us, the Dugout's own David Fish, followed by Jenkins 2009. What a guy! As well as Precision, and then topping things off will be Shogun Ash as well. So we'll be joined by 4 of our friends just for a nice casual tournament, possibly even the first ever tournament on PES 2021. Who knows? But that be a 4-man semi-finals, grand final setup to see who can get the first crown in the PES 2021 calendar. So join us tomorrow. We'll have normal content, so scoopy bits potentially. I imagine that's still going, but we'll see how things pan out. We might have to shelve the scoop tomorrow with all of that going, but we will have more hours on stream as well as being on the Twitch front page with all of those guys. So make sure you join us then. But that's enough of that. That's enough of everything that will be coming tomorrow. Let's jump into what we're going to talk about right now. So for those of you who don't know, actually, let me jump into this. Bigger bib. There he is, yay! So we, obviously, if you're new here, this is the scoop. We run you through the news from the world of video games. And the first story is a doozy. As Sony confirms, it will hold a 40-minute PS5 showcase on Wednesday. This is written by Andy Robinson for VGC, who goes on to say the broadcast will feature, in quotes, the latest titles from worldwide studios and partners. So Sony Interactive Entertainment will hold a 40-minute PlayStation 5 showcase on Wednesday, September 16th. It's announced. Apparently, this was planned for the 15th of September, but they didn't want to clash with the launch day cup from Ice Cream Uploads, so they moved the PS5 news until a day later, we appreciate it, guys. Cheers. So the digital showcase will be broadcast live on Twitch and YouTube at 9 p.m. BST and features updates on the latest titles from worldwide studios and our world-class development partners, communications boss Sid Schumann said on its website. Before PlayStation 5 launches this holiday, we wanted to give you one more look at some of the great games coming to PS5 at launch and beyond, he said. Sony could use the event to finally announce pricing and release details for PlayStation 5 following rivals Xbox's own confirmations earlier this week. That was last week, by the way. Pre-orders for Xbox Series X and S begin on September 22nd, while PlayStation US has invited a select number of fans to pre-order PS5 directly from the platform holder, despite not having specified its launch details. Microsoft's 2 next-gen consoles, each with different technical specs, the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S, are set to retail for £449 and £250. 2 PS5 models are scheduled to launch during the 2020 holiday season. Unlike Xbox, the only difference between the two is the Ultra HD Blu-ray disc drive, which the digital edition console will sacrifice, likely for a lower price point. According to recent analysis, the PS5 digital edition could cost at least $50 less than the disc version. Macquarie Capital analyst Damien Thong told Bloomberg last month he expects the standard PS5 console to cost around $500 and the digital version around $400. Altogether, he forecast Sony would sell over 6 million units by the end of March 2020. Anyway, that's all neither here nor there stuff that we've covered, so we'll drop the article just there. And say good morning to Mr. T. Hey, welcome Tassim, Anvia, and Shuke. Good morning, guys. How are we all doing today? Is it sunny where you are? Are you going to go out and enjoy some sun? We've probably got like two 2, maybe 3 days of sun left for 2020, and then that's it, into nothing but perennial darkness and torture. But apart from that, yes. But Bibs, Sony have a
man.
40-minute PS5 showcase coming on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Are we seeing games? Is it just games? Are we going to see a price reveal? Do we have a different color of the console? What are we saying?
Yeah, I think there's been too many pictures over the last week of what a PlayStation Black could look like. So I think it's just been incepted into our brains that there will be a reveal of the black console, which is hopefully something that I'll be able to pick up because the white one will not fit the aesthetic of my room now. So, yeah, I think it's going to be more than just the announcing the console and the accessories. I genuinely think that we're going to see some games as well. Maybe no gameplay, but just some some first party game reveals as well.
Something just went clunk in my room. Don't know what it was.
I heard that. I thought it was you like opening a bottle or something.
I don't even know what it
Popping
was.
champagne, PlayStation 5's coming, baby.
Just turned around and I was like, I don't even know what it was.
Quality.
Speaking of, the reason I asked you about like the colours and things of the console is just at the very last second. I've not actually seen the tweet from PlayStation on this, and I just played it within the embedded article. So let me bring it back up again. Is that just like shadow lighting on screen there, or is that like a dark grey version? I can't quite tell.
Yeah.
Like it could just be shading. Like yeah, that could be the white console, but just like mood lighting.
Yeah.
So-
Well, I think that's what they're trying to do. Like, did you see the when who was it that announced it? Phil Spencer back in June when they was talking about what was coming for the year, and they had behind him on the bookcase a PlayStation 1X, sorry, an Xbox One X. Or was it the One S? No, it was the Xbox Series S behind him on the bookcase, but no one even knew because no one knew what it looked like.
Really?
I reckon, yeah. Let me see if I can try and find the article for you. It was just like a throwaway thing. I'm sure it was Xbox that posted it on Twitter. But yeah, it was in the bookcase behind him all this time from June, and that's when we technically got our first look at it because obviously no one knew what it was.
That's amazing.
It just
Imagine.
kind of hiding in plain sight.
I mean, it does kind of look like the One S, the Series S as well. So I'd have been like, yeah, okay, he's just got a One S behind him. That's amazing.
I'm gonna drop it into the chat so everybody else can see it as well. Can you get the link from there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so grab the link from there. I seen it yesterday. I thought it was absolutely hilarious. But it's just one of these things now. I think they're alluding to it. We've seen so many different variants and people making different versions of this of this console. A black one is inevitable, I think.
That is amazing. If that is actually the One S, I mean that's not the greatest way of treating. Oh yeah, the new console, not even announced. Just wang it on a bookshelf between a few things. But that is incredible. If that is there for that specific reason, GG.
Yeah, waiting like 4 months to be able to like say, I gotcha. Amazing. But yeah, I think a black console is inevitable. We're going to see 1,000,001 different SKUs of this console as the first party games start to come out. So we see the Spider-Man version of it. Obviously, it was just a concept that someone created, but that console looked fire. We are going to get a black version. We are definitely going to get, if there was to make, they are going to be making Horizon Zero Dawn. They're going to make a new Horizon console. We're going to get. They're not going to make another Last of Us now, I imagine. I haven't played it, so again, no spoilers. But I don't think they're going to allude to a new Last of Us game. So any of the first party games that we're going to get, they're going to make a new console out of. So having a black one isn't going to be the end of the world. We know what's going to happen.
Just David says, "Are you sure it wasn't just a surround sound speaker?" Do you know? I would have thought the same thing, but
I think that's why no one's picked it up.
Yeah, it looks kind of like it, and I thought, oh, maybe it isn't, but it's only when I click off it that even though it was on the side of the screen, I only realised then that was a tweet from Xbox themselves saying, "Fun fact: Xbox Series S is so small. Phil Spencer had it sitting on his bookshelf back on July the 1st, and nobody noticed." So, yep, definitely no speaker. Well, that's incredible. Imagine just kind of like someone somewhere has gone, can we just stick that on that shelf and see if anybody notices? And then we can go, way later on. Or someone somewhere has gone, Phil Fencer.
Yeah.
Phil, the fucking Series S is in the background. Nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. And then nobody's noticed. They've just gone, oh, okay, we can turn that into a story. Nice bit of
Well,
spin.
people started to get over the weekend like dummy versions of it as well, didn't they?
Yeah, there was that article last week where
Ryan
someone.
McCaffrey, he ended up getting
Yes.
one.
Is that the one where they kind of like merged, like showed that one would fit inside? Oh no, that was actually that was after the launch. I'm merging things together in my head. Speaking of merging things, Chucky says I still really like the white version of. I'm assuming that's the PS4. Yeah, I do too. I didn't really like it at all when we sat here watching the live broadcast. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't think I'm not sure. I want a box. It should be a box. I mean, the PS5, PS4, should I say, kind of went a bit odd because it's a box that leans. It's like a parallelogram or whatever you call that shape. I can't remember if that's probably not the right shape. So okay, well that's enough. A leaning box I can just about maintain. Never mind some strange thing with like a collar and or wings or whatever you want to call it. But after a few days of looking at it, I really do like the white one. That first night after the announcement of it, and you were seeing the Miles Morales version and things like that, and I was like, okay, these look class. That's what the console should look like. But then after a few days, and I went back and looked at the white one. For me, the white one just has a bit more personality now, whereas the black ones are less offensive, I suppose, and will absolutely be better to sit in most people's living rooms. The white one, most people aren't gonna have a black, white, and blue living room. Unless you're a Sheffield Wednesday fan, so maybe Chappers. But for me, just look, yeah, I think it's just got a bit more character for me now.
It does look more futuristic with the way that the shape of the console is, the white aesthetic, the black inside. It does look more futuristic. I'll give them that. But yeah, unless you've got that kind of IKEA white front room or white studio, then I think it may look slightly out of place. It definitely would on my desk anyway.
Anyone with a GameCube sat there with a purple box in the living room going, "What do you mean?" A purple box and a yellow Pikachu controller or whatever that's got three arms on it. You think that looks stupidly futuristic? Look at this. Morning all, says Tommy Pickles. Good morning. Is that the Tommy Pickles of Rugrats fame? Wow. You've all grown up and you can use Twitch now. Hey, welcome in, welcome in. David says Rhombus. Okay, there we go. That's the one. DMC Ryan. Okay, let's have a look. This isn't the one that I had in mind, but yes, it was the same sort of thing. So that's the Xbox Series S and X dummy units there in his hand. Oh, okay.
Look at how small it is in his hand.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how small the next gen consoles can be. I mean, that's the thing that I remember seeing the first Xbox, thinking, well, that's stupid. No one's ever gonna want a console of that size in their house. It's not going to take off. And Xbox sold well, obviously not. It didn't take the world by storm until like kind of Xbox 360 was a bit smaller and less garish. So I thought, okay, if we can get back to having small consoles, the PS4 Pro is quite bulky. The Xbox Series S that I've got is not too big, so that if we can get more like that, and then when we saw this big, like not cinder block, what was it? What the blocks that you get in building? I can't remember it. Called anyway, whatever. Breeze block. That's it. Yeah. So I thought it's like a breeze block in shape and size. We don't need breeze blocks in our living room. And then the PS5 comes out, which is even bigger. So that is kind of a breath of no, I'm just a fraud. Well, do you know what? You're welcome here. Yeah, that is kind of a breath of fresh air, being smaller. We need technology to get smaller. It's nice that we're getting more and more power in technology, but my PC sat just over there. I'll show you. So there is the PS4 Pro.
Oh my god.
What's up?
Let me send you this. This can't be real.
Well,
I'm trying to find that picture because I've seen the picture that you're talking about, where it's in the console stand. I've seen that, so I'm trying to find it. But look what I've just found. This can't be real.
Okay. Just gonna finish this bit. So there's the PS4 Pro. That from there on, which is the units on up to there, is quite large. The PC is obviously massive compared to it. We're getting closer to that sort of sizing. So yeah, if we get away from it, that's kind of what we need. But anyway, Bibbs said something else. Let's have a look at it. Okay. comparisons. So we have an RTX 3080, an Xbox Series S, and an Xbox Series X. I mean, the 3080 is quite a meaty card. Wow.
Sure, that'll rip your motherboard off the side of your case.
So I'm just kind of staring into my case now, just thinking. I mean, the 3090 is even bigger, so thankfully it's not the same size as the 3090 because you need a side house for your PlayStation. Yeah, so those are quite meaty. Obviously, the PS5 is going to be even bigger, taller than all of those. Some of the form factor, the PS5 is not bigger in every single way because obviously PS5. I think the Xbox is wider, but the PS5 is taller and longer. Chapper says not in the studio anymore, Bib. No, we're not. Because of obviously COVID and the studio being in the office, we're only allowed so many bodies in. So that's why we were kind of off last week, so that some people could go into the studio, some can, and so on. So yeah, we're not going to be in the office all the time right now. So we kind of have to tag team, so some can go in certain days. Catfrob says, guessing you can lie the Series X horizontally. You can. So that image that's on the screen. So I don't know if you can see my cursor. There we go. You can see it now. That is the top, so you'd kind of lay it. So this bit would be the bit that's flat, and then you'd have the disk drive at the top of it. I hope you can rotate the Xbox button, because if that button doesn't rotate, like the old PS2 or whatever it was, PS3, where you could turn the little PlayStation logo, if you can't do that with the Xbox button, then that's going to trigger me. So hopefully you can do it. I mean, little things,
well,
but
the bottoms aren't detachable either, so the legs at the stand that it's on, you can't take off.
What,
I think that's right. One of Ryan McCaffrey's tweets.
Okay. So that little wheel thing there that is sat on, you can't take that off. Interesting. I mean, that would destroy the aesthetic if you've got it sat. If it's in a housing unit kind of thing, like my unit has, like, it's basically my TV sat on top of it, and it has kind of like shelves that they would sit into. If it's in that, that's not too bad. But say if you've got it sat on like a minimalist sort of like almost IKEA decor, just a flat plinth that you just watching Bibby trying to hold his yawn back.
Yeah, he wasn't happening. It's too powerful.
It's a full-on gun.
It was a Thanos one. It's far too powerful.
Catfrop says, wouldn't have thought it would fit in most people's TV cabinets if it has to stand up like that. Yeah, I mean, it would fit in mine. The annoying thing is, I have like my cabinet has like two shelves. So on one side I have my Skybox, and the other side I have my consoles. But there's not that much space, and the worst thing you can do is stack a console on top of a console, because the heat and everything just pops. I mean, my PlayStation overheats anyway, let alone being sat on top of something or something like that. So I have like some Perspex shelving that allows me to have space between the consoles that I've just bought, basically some sheets of Perspex off eBay to stack them, and that works quite nicely. But there's absolutely no way I'd be able to fit anything on top of that Xbox Series X in that space. What's that Mortal King one? let's load this up. I'm all set now. Xbox Series X, PS5. Look at the size. These are confirmed as 100% legitimate. These absolutely are real pictures of the PS5 being. Pivot.
I love that it's a two-man job. Do you know what I mean?
Still getting one. So yeah, there you go. We could potentially find out how much that two-man delivery service technology is going to cost this week. But we don't have anything confirmed yet. All we know is that on Friday, 9 p.m, I think it was, BST, PlayStation will have... to you, says Iceman. PlayStation will have a conference, and it will have games and new content in that sense released. They haven't mentioned anything... I've just seen a tweet from Dave Treyus, who's responded to my tweet about going live with this, saying we'll find out the price on release day. Well, the way this year's gone so far with pricing, that wouldn't fucking surprise me. How much is it got? How much is it going to cost? How much has he got? It's just like, okay, I'm going to write a number on a piece of paper. It's like 7,000. Fuck. So yeah. Anyway, tangent. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So we will have a conference on Wednesday. It will start at 9 p.m. BST. We know that it's got game news in it, but it has to have the price stuff. PlayStation will know that everyone will be expecting price stuff in there, especially after Xbox have just gone with theirs. Even if that wasn't on the agenda, you need to make it be on the agenda. And if you do make it be on the agenda, that's the absolute prime opportunity to just win the generation. I know that's a shit phrase. I hate it when people say PlayStation have won E3, Xbox has won E3, or PlayStation has won the console war. I believe almost any entertainment or any business in the world would like to profit as much as Xbox has on this last generation, but PlayStation won. No, okay, they both won. PlayStation, obviously, depending on how you stack things up, PlayStation have done better. Fine, that's completely understandable if you want to put it that way, but you can't say it's won. Xbox are still winning. It's a huge business, and most people in this stream will have owned one at one point in time, so it's fine. But to go back to the phrase that I don't like, PlayStation can win the start of the generation by just dropping the price. By having a console that has more games and a lesser price, then that's what won them the last generation. And if they can do that again, then yeah, they'll absolutely smash it. Oh dear, says Fatman Dave. Yeah, I feel like Sony really have to deliver this week. Lots of excitement and chatter about Xbox recently. They've really nailed their announcements. Well, it's interesting that you say that, because there may be some sort of ruffling of feathers coming. So I'll jump into the next article here. That's a nice little tangent for us to jump forward. Take the discussing now down. There we go. Let me get rid of my advertising cookies. Please change. Oh, get out of here. Fuck off. Okay, let me take this back off the screen because I don't want ad cookies. The fuck? Okay.
As it took a shit.
It's doing that shit where they're trying to get me to consent to their advertising cookies. Opt out. All. Fuck off. Opted out. Close. Go away. There we go. We're back. So this is the article written for IGN by Adam Bankhurst. This says the Xbox Series S will not run Xbox One X enhanced versions of backwards compatible games. However, the Xbox Series S will feature many other benefits for the Xbox One and Xbox 360 games. Microsoft has confirmed that the Xbox Series S will not run Xbox One X enhanced versions of backwards compatible games and will instead run the Xbox One S versions of Xbox One and Xbox 360 titles with other beneficial features. As reported by VGC, while the Xbox Series S won't run the Xbox One enhanced versions of Xbox One and Xbox 360 games, it will still be a step above the Xbox One S, with improved texture filtering, higher and more consistent frame rates, I'm assuming that's supposed to be frame rates, faster load times, and auto HDR. And there's a quote within the article that says, Xbox Series S was designed to be the most affordable next-generation console and play next-generation games at 1440p at 60 FPS, a Microsoft spokesperson said, to deliver the highest quality backwards compatible experience consistent with the developer's original intent. The Xbox Series S runs the Xbox One S versions of backwards compatible games while applying improved texture filtering, higher and more consistent frame rates, faster load times, and auto HDR. When a game has been Xbox One X enhanced, it means the developer has made improvements to a standard Xbox One game, including higher resolutions, faster frame rates, and/or improved textures. This all shouldn't be too surprising, as the Xbox One X can run games up to 4K, while the Xbox Series S can run games up at 1440p up to 120 FPS. However, the Xbox Series S does support 4K upscaling for games. Additionally, as first reported by Digital Foundry, the Xbox Series S also has less RAM than the Xbox One X, 10 gig versus 12 gig, but that doesn't mean there aren't upsides to this new next-gen system. And another quote says, it may be running backwards compatible games in Xbox One S mode, but because the GPU is so much more capable, and knowing what we know about how backwards compatibility works, you should actually still be able to clean up performance issues, Digital Foundry's John Linneman said. So games that maybe struggled on Xbox One S, either the dynamic resolution was overly aggressive with slowdown and things like that, conceivably they could actually run noticeably smoother on this machine. Furthermore, the Xbox Series S also boosts DirectX ray tracing, 4K streaming, media playback, variable rate shading, and refresh rates, and much more. So we're now starting to see what we always see. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but what you tend to find early on in console content cycles, and we spoke about this before, is you get all of the news, all of the good news, all of the headlines, the iconic taglines and bits of technology and selling points that are going to last throughout the generation. But then not so much like cracks, but probably more like a chink in the armor in terms of, okay, we find what the strengths are, but what are the weaknesses? What are the bits that you're not speaking about? And that stuff usually comes later, and people kind of tend to find it. And if brands aren't open and honest about that sort of stuff, then that can be unravelled. And if there's too many of them that you've not made a point, or all of the positives come at the cost of negatives, then that can unravel the entire marketing campaign, as we saw with Xbox before they changed all of their stuff in the last generation. But what are your thoughts on this, Bib? Do you see this as being the start of an unravel? Is it a light chink that's not actually that too much of a dent in the armor? What are your thoughts?
I'm not too sure until we get everything out. I'm trying to reserve our judgment until we start to get people that are playing on the games, because all this technical jargon they've been sat on for so long, and they're still, when they're putting it out, making it as confusing as possible for the people who are trying to consume their product at a particular price. So I mean, this console is still going to be the best way to get into new gen, but at what cost? You are going to be still getting a decent resolution, but if it's playing everything, it's just one step up from the S from last year, in it. Essentially, it's just a little bit better than that one. So you're able to play all these Xbox. You're not able to play the Xbox enhanced. Fuck me. This is why I don't understand why they just call them something. The Xbox One X and the Xbox Series One X, was that the best one available now?
The Xbox One X, and then there's the Xbox
Yeah.
Series X, which is the one that's coming.
Right, okay, so the Xbox One X now was the most powerful version of those. So if you was to be able to play an enhanced version of your game, it would get the best visuals. However, with this new console, it's not going to have that, is it? If you was to play these enhanced versions of the Xbox One games, you can play them on the S, the new S, but they're going to look like the old S.
Yeah, kind of something like that. It will look better than the One S was the old one. The Series S is the one that's due to come out shortly. So the Series S will play the One S versions, but will upscale them to a point.
Yeah.
It won't play. So some games have already had work in making them enhanced. So this is where it kind of unpicks the market a little bit, because we were just last week we're talking about 249 quid for an Xbox console that is mostly, not entirely, but mostly better than the Xbox One X. The Xbox One X is the £300 to £400 console, the flagship right now. And if you can upgrade that in the next generation whilst unlocking some of the features of the next generation, so being able to play the next generation of games and so on, like you can stick around with your One X for now. All of the games that are coming out in Xbox for now are going to be on the One X and the Series X and the Series S. But it was kind of like, okay, well, why am I going to go to the next generation then if I've got a One X that can play it? And then you think, oh, for 250 quid, you can get the Series S, which kind of is the same as what you've got, but you've got some of the upgrades. You've got ray tracing, you've got the DirectX ray tracing, you've got auto HDR and all of that sort of stuff. It's like, oh, nice, I'll do that. It's basically, I'm getting the same console I already have, but with a few extra bits on it for 250 quid. I'll sell my One X now, I'll get 250 quid. I'm not actually that much out of the pocket, and I'm into the next generation. But then when you start to peel it apart, then it's like, okay, so it's like a One X. We're all kind of thinking it's 250 quid. Let me just drop this blind down. The light is getting a bit intense, which is making Captain Pasty Man over here be even more pastier than usual. So it's like a One X, and it's 150 quid, but it's actually not like a One X, because the games that have been One X enhanced, so we had the Xbox One, then the One X came out, and the One X is the one that was 4K 60 FPS. I think it was 4K 60. It definitely had up to 60. I don't know if it was 4K on 60 concurrent. Anyway, whatever. It was better, and the games were enhanced to use that technology, and the S doesn't capitalize on that. The S can't run the games that were enhanced for the X. So that's the like. it's still a really, really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, 250 quid to get involved in the next generation of gaming and still have backwards compatibility of all of those games, even if it's not the fully enhanced versions, is really good. But then it does start to think, I start to think, okay, well, you made it sound amazing. It's 250 quid. I can buy it directly from you on a all access plan, which gives me access to the games and gives me access to Game Pass. And I only paid 20 quid a month off, 20 quid a month for the S, and I get access to EA Origin and stuff. But then you start picking it apart, and it's like, okay, well, they're not actually the greatest games and so on. Not a deal breaker for me, but it still doesn't. It's like, okay, well, it definitely is the ugly sister kind of thing. The Xbox One X is the one that's the beauty pageant that everyone's like, oh my god, that's amazing, and then Frodo comes like stumbling out with his hairy feet afterwards. Yeah, okay, it's definitely good enough to be there, but it's not a beauty pageant winner. Don't know where the effect Frodo came with, but it's fine. We'll just accept it as a good analogy, and we'll move ahead. It's fine. It's okay. Don't forget the Series S will have Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. Morning Cameron, he says that's one thing that Microsoft have done. Oh, throwing my pen away. Have done better than Sony this generation is backwards compatibility. To have a massive library of PS1, 2, and 3 games that are now unplayable is so frustrating. See that is kind of it's nice to have, but it's not something that I would use. But on the flip side, it's something that Bibby absolutely would use. So yeah, it's definitely a divisive kind of thing. That I definitely want it because I want it, but I'm not going to use it. So it is kind of more divisive. I'd be more inclined to have. I know we're talking about backwards compatibility for PS1, 2, and 3 there, but I'd be more inclined to play PS4 or Xbox One games that I haven't played. So having games that have been enhanced for One X. So if it's an Xbox One game that has been then enhanced for One X, I want the good stuff that comes with that. I don't just want to play an older gen. But yeah, it's not a big thing. It's not a big thing. I mean, if it's just this, then fine. If we start to see more things coming out of, actually, we know we kind of said that. What we didn't really say was that yeah, okay, it's 4K and we can do 120 FPS, but it has to be in rest mode and not hooked up to a TV, and you can't have controllers plugged in, and you also aren't allowed any electronic items to be a 3 mile radius of it. And it's like, for fuck's sake, what the fuck are all these caveats coming from? If it's just that, then that's fine. That's not a negative, really. But yeah, we need to know more about the details and the fine lines.
The more I see the new, the Xbox S, the new S.
Series S?
Yeah, Series S. The more I see that console, I ultimately think that it's aimed at people who just want to play Games Pass, who aren't asked about bells and whistles. Very much like me, my main console is going to be the PlayStation. However, if I were to get into the Xbox ecosystem again, like I was previously, then it probably would go for the S rather than the more expensive version. Purely because why would I want something that does exactly the same thing as my PlayStation, just with, and I mean this in the loosest term, worse first party games, like the non-existent first party games. Why would I get involved with the fully fledged £500 console when I know I can just buy it on the PlayStation?
Yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
mean, it's for 250 quid for anyone who's, I hate using this word, but casual gamer who's not bothered, who's not on Twitter to lambast people for their favorite games and what console it is. Person who just finishes work, comes home, wants to play a bit of FIFA, sees that the new first party games coming to Game Pass, fancies a bit of that, gets stuck in, just plays the game, enjoys it for what it is. That's that. There's a lot more of them people out there than you think. And that is probably the majority of the video games market, and that's exactly what they're trying to cater towards.
you enjoy your own things and not my things? How
The
dare
thing,
you?
us being on social media and having a show that talks about video games every single day, well, every single weekday at 10 a.m. live on twitch.tv/asking we are the people that are in the ecosystem for the games. We're the ones that are heavily invested. The people who are in the chat, it's the same people every single day. And welcome to those who are here for the first time or joining us who haven't been here for a while. They're the people that are invested in video games. They're invested in a particular franchise or a particular console, or just enjoy playing every single new game that comes out. They're a different breed to people who just come home to just play a few games with their mates online. There is a lot more of the people who come home and play games online with their mates at night than there is who are obviously in this chat, who go on Twitter to talk about video games, who write about video games. you don't think it because you're in the space, but there's a massive tipping point, and we're on the other side of that. So catering towards the people who are just going to come home and pay £250 and enjoy their experience, it's the right thing to do. Bundle in Xbox Game Pass as well, and you've got, again, not only the best deal in video games with Game Pass, but also the best deal in video games when it comes down to paying for a new gen console, regardless of the specs and the resolution and all the bells and whistles that this new £250 console will come in with.
Yeah, that. I think, I mean, you didn't want to use the word casual, and I kind of the same, but I agree with exactly what you said. £250 to get in for just having the ability to play games, to having the ability to play games in 4K, to have the ability to play games 4K, 120 FPS on certain things, or if not 4K 120 FPS, you can get 1440 and all of the bits. Do you know? I'm going to see if I can find you the exact numbers. Yeah, run games at 1440p up to 120 FPS. So 120 FPS, 1440p, that's fucking incredible. So still having the ability to do that for 250 sheets with all of the benefits of the Game Pass and the EA access and things that comes with it, it's definitely a good deal still.
But even still, with that S, I won't be able to get everything that the bells and whistles come with that because I haven't got a 4K monitor, and that will not be able to output on my 1080p monitor, will it? So again, I'm still being hindered by not having the new stuff. So like, my brother, my 14-year-old brother, he doesn't have a 4K monitor. So if I bought him a new Xbox, he won't be able to use half the stuff that comes with it. Even with the PS4 Pro, unless you have all of the new uh, technical infrastructure, things like like a new TV and things like that, then you don't have the ability to be able to play at the max resolution anyway. So having the S would be a good move for me because unless I bought a 4K monitor, which would then be an extra £300 on top of my £250 console, I won't be able to get half of that anyway. So again, still a fantastic thing. And don't forget, these are still catered towards kids as a majority as well, who aren't on probably social media, who are the only time that they're going to speak to their mates is either in WhatsApp or on the playground and things. I mean, I'm an old man nearly now, so I don't know what the kids are getting up to, but I assume that they still talk about, I don't know, PlayStation and Xbox on the playground. I don't know.
Which
But
Fortnite skin have you got, you massive default?
calling people a default as a insult is, yeah, it's a different breed. But having those options, £250 for a parent at Christmas, done and dusted, your kid's happy. Do you know what I mean? It's unbelievable,
It
really.
also unlocks future games, at least for the time being. It unlocks the Xbox Series level of games. The Xbox One S will be able to play cross-platform games, and Xbox have said at least for the next couple of years, there won't be any Xbox Studios games that aren't available just on the Series consoles rather than the One consoles. It's so fucking annoying. I was going to say rather than the One series, but then the series is just pick words that aren't generic. The box, the series, and the One. These are all things that could be used a million ways. Call your next console the Steve. We know what the fucking Steve is then. The next one after that is John. We know the difference between John and Steve. Jobs are good. Anyway.
You know what I find hilarious about it all, though? The reason that they have this numbering issue in the first place is because they didn't want to look like they was behind Sony in a console war. However, they've called the Xbox One. Why didn't they just go with like the Xbox after the original, the Xbox 2 rather than the 360, or then the Xbox 3 after the 360? It blows my mind. They
Yeah,
kind of contradicted themselves in that point because you've got to call the Xbox One. Is it the Xbox One, the Xbox original, the Xbox Classic? It's so dumb, and they've kind of shot themselves in the foot
the
when it comes
one.
to stuff like that.
It's like with Battlefield going to Battlefield 1. 1 is kind of seen as a rebirth. So 1 you can have. 1 it's fresh and new. But 2 you can't have because 2 is just a sequel. And sequels, by definition, are inferior. You've been there and done it, so we don't just want a 2. Whereas PlayStation went 1, 2, so they have logic. Logic outweighs the sequel issue 1, 2, 3. Okay, 4. If the next one is 5, job's good. Well, no, it is. But if the next one is 6, or if they don't go to 6, if they go to the 5 and then they go to the PlayStation
Xbox Infinite.
Yeah, I was about to say PlayStation Infinite actually. So if they go to the PlayStation Infinite, then is the next one the 7 because it's not the 7th console, and that's what you had it with Apple doing it with phones, and you got the 3 and the 3GS and the 3, and then they jumped to the 10, which is an X but not a 10. Fuck.
Or the I.
Yeah. But coming back in, so the 1440p at 60 FPS is oh, not actually. Oh no, yeah. Okay, so the Series S, not the X, should say, can do 1440p at 60 FPS. Most people won't be able to watch that on their TVs, because if you've got a 4K TV, not all 4K TV have 60 FPS capabilities. I mean, a lot of them do, but not all of them do. You can get 1440 60. I mean, a lot of monitors you can get a 1080p 60, fine. 1440, quite a lot of out there don't do 1440 60. I mean, a lot do now, but not all of them. And if you get, so the One X can run games up to 4K 120 FPS. Your monitors, your TVs aren't going to make full use of that. Even if you've got a 4K TV, you're not going to run it at 120 FPS. If you've got a monitor that does 4K 60, I believe, is fecking, it's going to cost you stupid money. As far as I'm aware, it's over $1,000, unless the prices have come down significantly. David probably knows this bit more than I, but I know that I was looking for the Asus monitor that I've got here, which is quite an expensive monitor. That's only 1080p, but it is 244 hertz. If I went to get a 4K 60 monitor, or maybe it was 4K 240, I'm not sure, but it was like 1,700 quid. I was like, okay, well, I'm never looking at that monitor ever, because that's stupid money. But yeah, a lot of TVs won't make full use of this, so the chances are most people are going to have to upgrade that anyway. So the fact that you can get into that at 250 quid is really good, because that then does allow you to. So say if you wanted to upgrade your setup sequentially, you start off with your 250 quid console, then you get the TV, and then in 2 years' time, when Xbox finally has some decent games, you get the Xbox One X. I mean, we are being very positive, so being balanced, obviously throwing in that bit of salt then. Being balanced, the Xbox does have issues. You can spend 450 quid to get a console that can run 4K, 120 FPS. It can do 8K potentially further down the line. They have the capacity for it, they've said. But what are you going to play in 8K when Halo can't even do 1080p, as we've seen so far? So yeah, there's a lot of good news around Xbox and their positioning and their customer-centric stuff, and it all stems from, as Bibbs has said again, the Game Pass offering is the best deal in gaming. If you get Game Pass, there's nothing in video games that gives you as much quality for as little price. But that Game Pass is built on history. There's nothing really new coming to that that's going to grab your attention and make you go, that's why I'm on Xbox, because I need that specific game. PlayStation will go, okay, you keep doing that, we'll just keep hitting these fucking worldies over here that you can't play anywhere else. And I think that still sways it for me. Xbox is definitely looking after the consumer. Their brand messaging is wonderful. Xbox has been looked after. Xbox games, not so much. David says, which Xbox do you have? I've got the Xbox One X, XXX Series X1 XS, lol. That's pretty much it. Like, did you ever see that meme? Whereas like it was like Xbox, and then you've got the packaging next to it, and that's the Xbox box. And then you've got like the Xbox One, and then it's like one Xbox box, and then you've got the Xbox One X, and it's one Xbox One X box. And it's like, and it's like, the thing is, it sounds fucking stupid, but it's an actual sentence that you would say. This is one Xbox One X box. I don't even know. Xbox One X. Wow, do you know what? Lots of stupid. It is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And Microsoft, do you know what? You've stuck to it. You have to now for the next generation, but sort it out for the next generation, because, I mean, if we know video games and we can't even say what it is, then God help my nan or whoever. I mean, God rest her soul, should I say? But anyone else's nan that's trying to buy young wee Jimmy a console, and she comes home from shopping with one egg box, and it's like, that's not what you wanted? One egg box? No, that's not it. Tito, good morning, Tito. I actually said good morning. I've already spoken to you once already, but only one 4K 120 hertz monitor on eBuyer, other websites, and it's an Asus ROG 43-inch monitor at 997. That's the one, 4K 120 hertz. So I've got 244, but I'm stuck at 1080p. 24-inch monitor, that's all you need. I mean, I love the idea of 4K, but 4K you don't need at 24-inch monitor. 4K is fine if you've got a 50-inch screen, or anything over 28 inch is where you go 4K. Below that, you don't need it, genuinely. So you don't get 4K monitors that many hertz usually it's just overkill. It is overkill. But one 4K 120 hertz monitor, £997. So if you want to get 4K 120 FPS console, £500. The monitor is going to cost you another £1,000 to be able to play it. So you're not even going to get the top end of what you're after anyway. 4K 120 hertz TVs are cheap now. Argos had one for $299 with Roku built in. Yeah, but you look at, it's like, okay, those two numbers look really good, but then you look at the like everything else in it, it will be horrendously slow. It'll either be really crap quality panels, light bleeding, refresh rates will be terrible. So yeah, those two numbers make it sound good, but it won't be. It won't be at all. All first-party Microsoft games will come to Game Pass. Honestly, I think Microsoft have learned, and you'll see a raft of new IP coming to Xbox, but only time will tell. I'm not buying one on launch anyway. I'm waiting. No, I agree. The first-party games will all come to Game Pass, and it will be wonderful. But we're 2 years away from that. So I completely echo you. I'm not buying one at launch. I won't be buying one at launch because there's nothing at launch that hasn't been available previously, apart from. Is it the Medium? Is that the one that's like exclusive to Xbox, at least for time limited, and is only a next gen game? So I'm not going to spend £250 at least just to be able to play Medium. Other than that, yeah, fair enough. When Halo comes, I mean, I'm not going to play Halo, but when other Xbox games come that are there, the Last of Us games, their Ghost of Tsushima games, then yeah, fair enough. At that point, there's something to opt in there for, but at the moment you can do all that on your One X, and that's kind of the thing that I saw about this Xbox Series S. Or PC, yeah. Not entirely, but yeah, for the majority of it, for the bigger stuff, definitely, 100%. Well, obviously not 100% because I've said not entirely. But the Xbox Series S not running Xbox One X enhanced games, I've seen a number of people already this morning saying, well, that's my decision made. £250, they had my attention. But if I can play all of the One X enhanced stuff, and there's very little coming on the next generation of consoles immediately that I can't play on my One X, I'm just going to stick with it. So people are going to stick with the ecosystem, but stick with the console rather than jumping ahead. And I mean, I was probably not going to get one anyway at launch, same as Tito. And I think that kind of remains the same. Yeah, dual world rendered side by side. That one, that the one. That is the one that's Xbox exclusive for a time being in it, right? And I think that one's just next gen only because they couldn't do the dual world rendering stuff on current gen without the SSDs and being able to load stuff so fast and so quickly. So I think that one's only next gen and Xbox exclusive. Is that enough to sell you a console? No. One game. I mean, obviously, I say that one game shouldn't be enough to sell you a console. Often it is. You'll buy a Last of Us console just to play The Last of Us on it or whatever. One game can sell you more than a console. It can get you a second console. But yeah, if it's not a game that you're heavily invested in, then one smaller game like that isn't enough to sell me a console. Anyway, let's move ahead from a smaller game into a substantially larger game. As the next news story is from VG247 and written by Stephany Nunneley. And it says, Borderlands 3 is coming to next gen. There's new Vault Hunter skill trees, additional DLC, 4-player local co-op, and more. Borderlands 3 is coming to PS5 and Xbox Series X during PAX Online today. Gearbox Software and 2K confirmed full next-gen support for Borderlands 3. Confirmation that Borderlands 3 is coming to both Xbox Series X and PS5 shouldn't come as a surprise considering the studio developed the game using Unreal Engine because it's compatible with next gen. If you already own the current gen version of the game on Xbox One and you're playing on Xbox Series X, you'll receive a free upgrade to the Xbox Series X version. GG! And if you own the game on PS4, you'll receive a free upgrade to the PS5 version. If you're playing on PS5, also GG! This applies to all content you've purchased as well as all your saves. You'll be able to bring everything over to the new console generation. Big GG there as well. The game will run at 60 FPS at 4K resolution on Xbox Series X and PS5 in single player. The digital showcase also revealed the new Vault Hunter skill trees, additional add-on content, vertical split screen, 4-player local co-op, and more. You can expect the next generation console versions to include 2 highly requested local co-op features, free for all players. For the first time ever, you'll be able to play 4-player split screen. When playing in 2-player co-op, you'll have the option to divide the screen horizontally or vertically. The vertical split screen option will also be added to the Xbox One and PS4 versions of the game via a free patch. Oh, that's not the end of the article. There's still more to go. Borderlands will also receive an additional add-on content this year, though the next paid add-on won't look like the campaign DLCs of the now complete season pass. It will include a brand new game mode as well as one new skill tree for each Vault Hunter with new action skills. During today's showcase, Gearbox provided a look at Flax. Is it Flax?
Yeah.
Flax new trapper skill tree, which emphasizes. I'm glad my brain was like, we've heard this before. It's Flax. At that point, I was going to go to FL4K. Which emphasises shields and survivability for both Flak and their pet, plus Flak's new action skill, Gravity Snare. Do you know what? I will stop there because it's going into intricacies that I don't know, so we don't necessarily need that level of detail. There will be more content. As a man that's played Borderlands, Bib, thoughts?
Well, I don't actually own Borderlands 3. This is going to be the most stupidest statement ever made, but I am actually a massive fan of Borderlands. I just haven't bought this new one. One, I don't have the money, and two, I don't have the time to be able to play it. If I bought it, it probably would have been on the Switch because I'm playing so much of my Switch recently. It's just one of them games that I would like to be able to take everywhere with me so I can play it wherever I am. But this, again, being able to move it over, we've talked about this so many times over the last couple of months when companies are saying that we're not going to move it over to PS4, PS5 or the Xbox Series X. You'll have to pay for this. But again, Gearbox coming out, you'll be able to play it for free on your PS5 and your Xbox Series X. Again, massive moves. I love this. They're a massive company, so they probably would have been able to squeeze a little bit more money out of people, especially for a game that's technically a live service game, shall we say? It's one of them games. Have you ever played Borderlands before?
No.
Okay, so the easiest way to explain it is just like a live service game. I'm going to say it's not an MMO, but it's very close to being that. But yeah, it's just one of these games that just go on and on and on and on. And if you want to max out all your characters, get all the best weapons, level it up to the tits, get all the best out, all of those things that come around with it. It's just one of those games. It's a super grind, but if you're into them games, then it's amazing. So this game, being able to move your saves over, be able to play it on your PlayStation 5 or your Xbox Series X, that for me was the biggest thing to take away. Never mind all of the new stuff that's going to be coming next year as well. It's massive. This is all great stuff. And plus, they just had a sale as well on Borderlands 3 on the Switch and on PlayStation. So if you'd have picked it up for next to nothing, then you'd have been playing it on your new consoles for next to nothing.
That is amazing, though. I mean, I've just seen Tito's comment. Sounds like Gearbox Software really have control of the upgrade to next gen. It's a nice bit of a stoking the fires there. That's obviously regarding control, having the game released and then adding extra DLC, and then after releasing all that, even if you've bought all of that, there's a new version that has nothing more than that other than the upgrade to the next gen, which I can see the cost for that, but obviously it's ignited a lot of fires. So 2K and Gearbox coming out and going, okay, well, you can get the next gen absolutely free. You just get an upgrade regardless of what format you're on. You'll get it. It's fine. And also, not only that, it's not a new game. It's the same game, so you will get cross progression. So you start playing on your PS4, and you get in the what would you say? What kind of game? You said it's not an MMO. I've lost the phrase now. Not continued service, but
live service.
Live service. There we go. So it's a live service game. Your progression in the online game won't stop, and then you'll carry on elsewhere. So if I play PUBG on my PS4, I'm at level 70 in the season pass. I turn on my PC, I'm at level 1 because it doesn't cross progress. The skins I've got do not move over. They will do that. So if you get it on the PS4, it'll continue on the PS5. I mean, that's obviously cross progression in terms of in system. I don't know if it happens across platform, maybe not. But even still, I would probably expect my PS4 stuff in PUBG to probably not move forward because that's just the way it tends to work. So yeah, still big moves. Do Jumping back up, David says, just saying, even the cheap ones a few years ago were around the ground with even less features. Yeah. Microsoft seem to mainly want people in their ecosystem this time around, as opposed to just fully focusing on unit sales. Game Pass and PC Game Pass are really interesting approaches. Seems like Sony are going for a more traditional console cycle, but again, seem to be ahead in the exclusives. Oh, yeah, completely agree. I mean, it's the bigger game plan. If you have games coming, and you have consoles coming that you feel are better, then you have to look at what the hindrances are. And Microsoft's biggest hindrance isn't the fact that Sony's console could be better, isn't the fact that Sony's games could be better. That's something you will. They are individual fights fought across the year. Microsoft's biggest barrier for entry is, well, I've got The Last of Us and Ghost of Tsushima, and I've got all of those games. They're on my account. I can play those. I can download those going forward. On my Xbox, I've got those 3 games that I've downloaded when I finally remembered to do my games with gold stuff a few months back, and I don't have anything else. What's the point? I don't play my Xbox. I might as well go on PlayStation. So Game Pass goes, okay, well, don't worry. How about having everything? And you're okay. Well, that's lovely. I've suddenly now got more games than I have on my PlayStation account. So that approach from Microsoft, giving them access to the ecosystem, gets rid of the barrier for entry for most people. Okay, well, I don't have to worry about having. Yeah, I'm not going to have Ghost of Tsushima and Miles Morales and all that stuff anyway. But all third-party games, all multi-platform games, I will have all of them because that's just the way Game Pass works. So that is the big game stuff. If they can then start delivering, so they can use their extra teraflops, they can use their everything else that's in the console. It's the most powerful console ever. Yeah, great. Okay, give me a good game to use it, and then that's when it starts to become something a bit different. I feel like Microsoft's issue is they market their systems as a media center as opposed to Sony's being a more pure game console. Kind of, maybe not media center, but they definitely market like it's a media system, I suppose, in terms of Microsoft. They are, I mean, they're still offering you access to games, maybe not media. I'd still say there's definitely a games element in it, but Sony definitely want you to buy the console. That's it. They've said it's generational. You will buy the generation. Maybe that's it. I think that's kind of probably what you're getting at. Sony definitely want you to invest in the new generation. PS5, buy that now. Whereas Xbox are like, do you know what? Buy it. Don't buy it. Just play the games. So it's more like a game center, a game center rather than media center. I think that's probably what you're getting at. But I agree with that if that is. Bibby plays his Xbox games, but he doesn't play them on his Xbox. He plays them on his PC. Somebody else plays the Xbox games on their mobile. So you get access to the media ecosystem, the gaming ecosystem. Whereas PlayStation, you go, no, fuck that shit. Buy the new PS5. It's fucking amazing. And it's like, oh, okay, completely different approaches. Neither one's right, neither one's wrong. Both very good, very different. I think that's true of the One range, but I don't know what you're seeing from the marketing of the Series SX that suggests that's the case. I think I imagine he was going for the same sort of thing that I kind of mentioned then. Mr. T, oh, I like this Borderlands thing. Nothing to do with me working for 2K. Honest.
Are you a Borderlands player? I don't think we've ever had this conversation. I'd love to know if you are actually a Borderlands player.
He plays all the games.
I know he plays all the games.
As opposed to me, who wants to play all the games and just plays PUBG. Although I tend to not play too many games. But when I dabble, I tend to dabble in games that hook me. So Uncharted, fucking got a shelf of Uncharted shit back there because it like absolutely hooked me. PUBG's obviously, you've seen the amount of shit I've got PUBG. PES, as my life has been heavily influenced by PES and things like that. So I tend to go all in on what I play.
I think you should play Borderlands, you know, like do it co-op style. I think you'd love it. I think this would be the gateway drug to you to get into the live service MMOs. I mean, I know for a fact that you will hate playing MMOs, but I think this will be the entry level and the gateway drug for you to be able to get into this kind of live service ish game.
I mean, I'm into live service. PUBG's heavily live service. It's entirely.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no. Do you know what? We'll if only we knew someone that worked at 2K that could help sort out the Ice Cream Uploads BL3 launch stream. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
It's not what you know, is it?
Hashtag shill. Tito
Shut up,
says,
boy.
and Tito says, and they said it was impossible to give a free upgrade to the deluxe edition, and then proceeded to accidentally post it on the PlayStation Store. For those that had the deluxe edition, had the option to download the ultimate edition once 505 again, realised their mistake. They flicked the switch. Basically, lied about being able to upgrade editions. Very scummy. Sorry, free upgrade from deluxe edition to ultimate edition, which got to 5 again was the only way it was possible to. Yeah, see, I think I still kind of. I mean, it's a fucking bad error, really bad. After everything that was going around it, possibility is I wouldn't have used that phrase because what's possible and what's not possible could talk about finance. They could take a loss that they couldn't account for, so it wouldn't be possible. I mean, it's still technically possible, but financially wouldn't be possible. And that's fine, that's acceptable. You've got to pay for people's jobs and make that happen. Fine. But try to not use the word possible if that's what you're saying, because it kind of means something else. Fine, okay, you've used it, whatever. It is what it is. You then don't, after the drama that comes out, fucking drop it on the store. I didn't know that. That's horrendous. It's almost like, it's like, sat there, you've got, you sat in a room full of fuel, and you're like, it's like, oh, I'm going to light a match, and it's like, I've lit the match. Okay, it was close then for a second. It nearly fucking, and then you go, yay! And you celebrate, and as you celebrate, you let go of the match, just set fire to it all. Anyway, it's like Control nearly lost their shit with all of that. So I say nearly, they did. A lot of people have reacted badly to it, as you'd expect. It's, I mean, I maybe being in video games on the other side of it for long enough makes me feel okay. I'll give them enough of the benefit of the doubt as to not hate them. This is their first real dabble of that sort of size. If they do that repeatedly going forward, that's a completely different thing. But yeah, after that, you then don't just go, oh, fuck it, let's light it anyway. Fuck it. They didn't burn it down, so let's do it for them.
You see, with this, I thought they could set a nice precedent for themselves going forward with any other games that they can bring out. I'm talking about Control at this point. But they didn't. That's what it doesn't worry me because I've not got a Control. It doesn't bother me from that sense. But I just feel like you've kind of just scalped everyone that's made your game a success for the sake of a few quid. It doesn't say. I still think that if they would have said we can't justify making this for free for everyone, if you was to pay £5, £10, we've used the Assassin's Creed one that you mentioned a couple of months back. That for me sits better because it feels like you are giving them props for making such a good game. It's that good that you want to be able to pay to be able to play it on your new console. Not £30.
No,
I
agree.
That is ridiculous.
I do agree, and like I say, the underlying point of buying the whole game and getting all of the next gen upgrades and getting all of the DLC and all of that, all within it for 30 quid is lovely. It's lovely. That's a really good offer for a game of the year level quality game that a lot of people haven't. Control is no Last of Us, is no Ghost of Tsushima. It hasn't done that level of numbers, and they understand that. They know that they could do more. By offering this, they're trying to hope to go bigger than that little support base that's made them do so well. But you can't piss off the support base that's done you so well, because if nobody else buys it, then you have no one left. So yeah, it's not.
It's a cracking deal for those who've never played it before. Like me, if I was to pick it up now, £30, I'm getting it for PlayStation 4 and 5. That's cracking. But for the people who've already bought everything, who played the tits off it, that have supported it and either playing it, buying everything that's available for it, or talking about it on social media, that have given this a Game of the Year title, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth to say if you love it that much, you got to pay 30 quid again, mate. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you like the game, nice. You like the game and you've done it, whatever, nice. Oh, you've bought all the extra stuff. Okay, so you really support us, yeah. Do you know what your supporters earned? What, the opportunity to spend even more money? The fuck? That's not what? No, that's not how it works. Do you know what? Everyone else that's never played it only have to buy it once, so they will be spending 25% of what you've been spending so far. Good luck, yeah. See you in the future. Nope. Yeah. I see it. I'll let them have the benefit of the doubt because they've made such a good game. Remedy. And 505 obviously have been involved in that side of things. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and I will judge them on their actions going forward. This is a difficult time. Fucking COVID. Some industries have boomed. The games industry has boomed. Not all games brands and games companies have. So it's unfair to go. Well, everyone's getting shitloads more money in games. You should be fine. Or Controller's done better than anything else. You should be fine. They've also spent more than they ever have, and they've tried to push Control and so on. So I'll be like, okay, fair enough. Let's just say that they are a bit wet behind the ears and they've learned very fast. Use those learnings on the next time. If you don't, at that point, rather than me being just disappointed next time, I will be more disappointed next time because I've let you have the faith, good faith this time. I've said, okay, benefit of the doubt. If you let me down, it will be worse. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. But I don't own the game, so yeah, take that with a pinch. Tito says, I don't think gamers should feel entitled. I hate that word. He says in brackets. I don't think gamers should feel entitled to a free next-gen upgrade, but if you say it's technically impossible due to various blockers, and then accidentally show it's not impossible, you destroy a lot of confidence in that developer/publisher. See, I think that's all in because they were so vague. They didn't say it was technically impossible, but they did say there was various blockers. And what does that mean? Various blockers is a lollipop lady that stops you from going down the road. That's a various blocker. It could be anything. So by just being so vague, is that you are financially restricted and you can't afford to eat that loss? Or is it we are blocked by the fact that we just want to earn shitloads of money? It's still a blocker. What is it? Is it a lollipop lady? Is it your greed? Is it not possible because you can't afford it? So the technically impossible. Obviously, they've shown that it's not a technicality in terms of physical stuff, but technically, it could technically be impossible because they can't afford it. But yeah, being vague, the fact that they're vague says to me, whenever anything is vague, that says to me money. It always does. Not always the case, but that's what it always says to me. If they're being vague, it's because they don't want to talk about money. If you talk about money, rightly or wrongly, you get shown as being greedy as feck. Even if you're not trying to be. If you talk about it being influenced by money, people say, oh, that's capitalist. And it's not capitalist sometimes. Sometimes it's survivalist. I just want to still be around to continue making games. But that makes me think it's a money-influenced decision. Whether it was or wasn't, don't be vague, and then people don't have that sort of thing. So yeah, I agree. Anyway, let's move forward because we're an hour and 20 minutes in, as we have been pretty much every episode this last couple of weeks. Although we weren't here on Friday, so we have a little bit of catching up. We haven't even touched on UB Forward, to be fair. But we won't be doing that today. We do have one more story. Talking about fucking up messaging. A UK retailer reportedly cancels Mario 3D All-Stars pre-orders following woefully short stock allocation, written by Tom Ivan for VGC. Base.com also says Nintendo might not offer more stock after the game's release, should I say. UK retailer Base has reportedly cancelled all Super Mario 3D All-Stars pre-orders after being told it will receive what it describes as a woefully short allocation of copies for launch. Priced at $49.99 and set for release on September 18th, Super Mario 3D All-Stars is a compilation containing Switch remasters of Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. The packaged version software is a limited-time only production, and the digital version will only be available until March 2021, Nintendo said in its original announcement. The game's limited availability has contributed to strong pre-orders. At the time of writing, it's Amazon's second most purchased video game of 2020 in the US and its fifth most purchased title of the year in the UK. And its limited availability looks set to leave some customers hoping to see a physical version ending up having to make a digital purchase instead. According to a Base email published on Reset Era and later sent to VGC by another affected customer, the UK retailer has cancelled all physical pre-orders after receiving a much smaller allocation than anticipated. It also claims to have received no guarantee from Nintendo that stock will be replenished post-release. We've just been notified of our allocation of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, Nintendo Switch in brackets, and it's woefully short. Its message reads, "This is very disappointing, and it's with great regret that we have to inform you that we will be unable to fulfill your order on the day of release. Further, as Nintendo and their UK distributors are unable to give us any reassurance that more stock will become available after release, we have taken the regrettable decision to cancel all orders." In the replies to the Reset Area post, one commenter claims they successfully placed a pre-order for the game at another UK retailer, Shop 2, and that while the money for the order has been taken from their bank account, they've yet to receive a confirmation email, as is customary. The author has This author has had the same experience with Shop 2 pre-order, and VGC has reached out to the retailer for comment on this story. Update! Shop 2 CEO Igor Chipoletta, Chipolata, that's what we're calling now, told VGC on Saturday that the retailer's website crashed several times when thousands of customers visited it to place Mario 3D All-Stars pre-orders, resulting in a few customers not receiving a confirmation email. He said customers who haven't received a confirmation email should log into their Shop 2 account and check the pre-orders section. If it says the pre-order has been confirmed, as in the picture above, then the order is fine and secure. Chipolata said the retailer has since applied a few modifications to our web service to avoid similar issues in the future. He added, I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to thousands of customers that have come to Shop 2 to place their pre-order, and I'm really sorry for the inconvenience caused by not receiving the email. I said off the bat, and Bib said the same thing off the bat, the fact that it was such a limited run, digitally and physically, would cause issues. We said it would. And it was such a strange decision, and it's just led to lots and lots and lots of strangeness following. What are your thoughts, babe?
Imagine limiting your anniversary game, 35th year anniversary game. Imagine limiting how many games that you're going to sell of those, regardless of whether or not it's digital or physical. It blows my mind. It's just what a Nintendo thinking with this. It's their biggest money spinner and some of the biggest games that they have ever created. And that people have been crying out for years to be able to get remade, and they're limiting them. It's bonkers. Funnily enough, that it actually closes the day before usually the fiscal year ends. So you'd think that they want to try and make as much money as they possibly could, but ultimately not. It's another weird Nintendo move. Sorry, a typical Nintendo move, shall we say?
It would piss me off
things.
no end if Scran My Growler is back. What a name. It would piss me off no end if Nintendo on the 1st of April went, actually, there's a new edition. It's called It's Nothing to Do with the Tax Year 2021 at All edition. Which would absolutely piss me off if that's what it's on. Do you know how we're leaning heavily into your nostalgia and your history of feeling good about this brand? Do you know how we've milked you to death for that? Now, just buy it anyway. Would piss me off. Asim says, I managed to pre-order from Shop 2 on the day they announced it. Let's see if I get it. I can sell it for £1.5 million later. And then it says in brackets, I won't actually. Or will I?
So I'd say that you got it for 20 quid off Amazon. That's getting refunded. Absolutely.
He's bought the box. It'd be like one Nintendo Mario All Stars box, and he's like one of those people that spent like 300 quid buying a PS4 box and not realizing that they'd just bought the box because they'd kind of like hidden or written it in a way that it was like one box PS4, and it's like, oh nice, what, one box? No, just one box of a PS4. Fuck. So that's what it is. Ads has not got the full game. He's just got like part of it coming or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice that people want to get involved. It's nice that Nintendo are remastering old games and stuff like that. But we said it absolutely opens the doors for BirdBot scenario for this kind of thing to happen. People were trying to buy Switches, and BirdBot is an app that basically creates alerts and spaffs it into a private Discord and says, this is live now, go get it. It gets stock alerts, and people just go in and go, boop, I'll take 3 Nintendo Switches, even though I don't need one. I'll take 3, because I can then sell that £200 console for £400 and make myself shitloads of money and take the piss out of people. Capitalise on the situation. Capitalism is obviously fair game, but you kind of, it's like you capitalise to make money, not to just rip people off. That's and the two things aren't necessarily the same thing. Making money isn't the same as ripping people off. But yeah, we said that there was a potential for a BirdBot situation, and truly enough, there has been stories over the weekend of Mario 3D All Stars having it being out of stock because people have created BirdBot alerts that will say Mario 3D All Stars is in stock on Walmart or Game or Asda or whatever, and then all of the stock's just gone because people have bought multiple copies of it. It's a shit situation. If people want to celebrate your game again, I mean, it's not quite the same as the Control thing. You're actively punishing people that have purchased your game by making them purchase it again, but you're kind of punishing people by not providing enough. It's like, we know you want this, and we're going to sell it as its limited edition and so on, so on. But all just to make sure that we make max profit on it. We don't care
just
if
asking for scalpers, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just begging for people on eBay later on after it's done. Very much like you get ticket touts for a gig that's completely sold out. You go back onto fucking Ticketmaster or Get Me In or whatever it's called, and it's there for like 800 quid for the same thing. It's just begging for people to scalp this game.
And I know there's elements of capitalism. Capitalism is you make as much money as you can. It's your free right to do so. Nice. But ticket touting is illegal for a reason, because it's an unfair practice, and capitalism isn't based on unfairness. Usually, capitalism is a free market and an open market, but it's usually based on a free market and an open market that people have the same access and the same abilities to deliver. And if you don't have the technical smarts or even the actual technical ability, a PC with Discord that has Birdbot and everything set up, you don't have access to that, then you're already at a disadvantage. So it's not a free market then. So yeah, and forgetting all of that level of detail, it's just shit. It's just shit. Nintendo have sold shitloads more. The move to digital has been accelerated due to the pandemic. And this feels like, to me, by limiting the number of physical copies and then limiting the availability of the game digitally going forward, obviously it's only around till the end of the year, that stinks like they're just trying to... It's a money grab. It's a cash grab. Okay, buy it digitally and buy it now. Okay, most people have been on, not most, a lot of people have been on furlough for 6 months and are just going back to work, and some of them probably not back at full-time wages, some of them might not be going back to work. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and no doubt lots more still to come. We're on the verge potentially of a second lockdown in the UK, at least anyway. So forcing people to shell out $49.99 now or lose it forever is not a good move. It's not a nice move. It stinks, and it still stinks, and I will stand by that. That I think it's a shit move. Nintendo can often make shit decisions that are anti-consumer. They do it very often. Anti-content creator, whatever. Nintendo can make horrendous decisions. They get away with it because they are Nintendo, and it's infuriating because it's the wrong decision. It's 100% the wrong decision. Anyway, the wrong decision would be to keep this going when it's 5 minutes past 12 and we've got an episode of Master League to jump into. That would be the wrong decision. Yes, we are going to wrap things up. For those of you who don't know, our Masters of the League is a series that we play on PES 2020, and we are the managers of Ice Cream Uploads FC, and that will be starting imminently on this channel. So if you want to disappear, grab yourself a brew, come back in 5, 10, 15 minutes-ish. You will get notified if you follow the channel. So that's the first thing to do. Make sure you follow the channel right now. If you haven't, you will get a notification whenever we go live on Twitch, and we will be back shortly with episode 2456 of Masters of the League. I don't actually know what episode we're on, even though Bibby has sent me a thumbnail. Hey, 40 episodes in. Oof. That's like we're probably well over 2-3 days worth of content in there. Yeah.
I think it's 80 hours we've had so far on this.
Nearly 4 days of content then. If you start watching it out now, you'd be 4 days before you got through it. That's beautiful. It's beautiful. Anyway, before we drop off and jump back on with Masters of the League, Bib, is there anything you want to
add? Before we get into that, it's very unlikely that we're going to have an episode of The Scoop tomorrow, isn't there?
Yeah, I would say, I'd imagine there won't be an episode of The Scoop because we will be on for like 5 hours or whatever in the afternoon with PES 2021 launch day, so I would imagine there's no Scoop tomorrow.
Okay, no, that's good. That's good, because I that would literally burn my morning down tomorrow if that's the case. But back on Wednesday. Yeah. Back on Wednesday. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this morning for this episode of Scoop. As Graham mentioned, stick around for Masters of the League. 80 hours in, 40 episodes in. We'll love to see you there. But if you do have any video game news that you want to get featured on this show, then all you need to do is find us in 2 different locations. First of all, on all major social media platforms at Ice Cream Uploads across absolutely everything. Second place in the Discord. If you do have Twitch Prime and you are already a subscriber to us, then please tie your Twitch Prime to your Discord name and get into our Discord, because we'll be giving you free shit. I want to say free shit. I mean, 10 times out of 10 you're probably going to have to win it, but we do drop shit in there for you to be able to pick up anyway. But there's also a little section in there for you called The Scoop. All we need to do is get the link from yourself to the article that you want to feature, your thoughts and impressions. We will then answer and give you our thoughts and impressions in the very next show, which will be at what time on Wednesday, Mr. Graham Day?
10 a.m.
Ish.
Speaking of the loot drop in Discord, obviously, as Bib just mentioned, if you link your Twitch and your Discord accounts. You can win things just by being a subscriber to us. Rock Pie eventually responded and has won his Ice Cream Uploads exclusive baseball cap, so we will be sending that out to Rock Pie this week. So GT Rock Pie. Anyway, next loot drop will be picked on the first Monday of September, which will be Monday the 5th. So if you are a sub now, you will be well, if you sub now, not if you are a sub now, because you could have subbed before the 5th. Anyway, if you sub any time from now, you will be included in next month's loot drop, so make sure you do link your accounts. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to disappear. We'll be back in 10-ish. No, football, not 10-ish. No, we'll be back in 10-ish. All right, chill out, mate. All right, you're getting all aggressive for. Anyway, we're going to be back in about 10-ish. We'll see you soon for Masters of the League. Until then.
I have to put up with this all the time.
Yeah, you do.
You have to go.
Anyway, Steph.